Hello, good day. How are you today? You're good, right? Okay. Are you ready for today's lesson? You are? That is good. Today, in basic science, we are going to be learning about reproduction in plants. Our topic for today in basic science is on reproduction in plants. Are we ready for today's lesson? Reproduction in plants means the process by which plants make new plants. It's how plants create their offspring or babies. Plants reproduce to ensure the survival of their species, just like animals do. Reproduction is just all about how plants make more plants to keep their kind alive and growing. Okay? Do we understand? Good. A flower is the reproductive structure of a plant and has several parts. We're going to be looking at parts of a flower. A flower is the reproductive structure of a plant. Petal attracts pollinators with its color and scent. Petal. These are colorful and often fragrant parts of the flower. They attract pollinators like bees and butterflies with their colors and scents. Another part, the sepal, protects the flower bud. The sepal are the small green leaf-like structures located underneath the petals. Sepals protect the flower bud before it blooms. Stamen. Male part includes the anther and filament. The stemma is the male part of the flower and consists of two main parts, the anther and filament. Anther produces pollen, and filament is the slender stalk that holds up the anther. Okay? Pistil. Female part includes the stigma, style, and ovary. The pistil is the female part of the flower and it includes three main parts. The stigma collects the pollen or receives the pollen. Style is the slender tube that connects the stigma to the ovary. Then the ovary is the enlarged base of the pistil that contains the female reproductive cell. These parts work together in the process of pollination and fertilization to help flowers produce seeds and eventually new plants. Let's look at the meaning of pollination. This is the process of transferring pollen from the anther to the stigma of a flower. This helps the flower make seeds and new plants. It's the process of transferring pollen from one part of the flower to another. Okay, we have types of pollination. Self-pollination. pollen from the same flower fertilizes the stigma. This is when a flower's pollen lands on the same flower's female part, which is the stigma. It's like the flower pollinating itself. Okay? Do we understand that? Self-pollination. Pollen from the same flower fertilizes the stigma. This is when a flower's pollens land on the same flower's female part. It's like the flower pollinating itself. Cross-pollination. Pollen from one flower fertilizes another flower of the same species. Cross-pollination is when pollen from one flower lands on a different flower stigma, usually of the same type of plant. It's like flowers helping each other make seeds. Do we understand that? Cross-pollination is when pollen from one flower lands on a different flower stigma, which is the female part of a flower, usually of the same type of flower. It's like flowers helping each other make seeds. So both types of pollination are important for plants to reproduce and grow. Okay? They are agents of pollination. Agents of pollination are like nature's helpers that move pollen from one flower to another. So pollination can be done by various agents, various helpers. Okay? Insects, bees, butterflies, and other insects. They visit flowers to collect nectar and unintentionally carry pollen from one flower to another. Wind. In some plants, the wind carries pollen. Sometimes, the wind blows pollen from one flower to another. This is like a natural breeze helping flowers make seed. Birds. Certain birds, like hummingbirds, aid in pollination. Hummingbirds also help pollinate flowers when they visit them for nectar. So these agents play a crucial role in helping flowers make seeds and grow into new plants. Okay? They are the helpers. They are like nature helpers that move pollen from one flower to another. Do we understand that? We do, right? Good. Next, we're going to be looking at fertilization and fruit development in plants. Fertilization is when the pollen from one part of the flower meets and joins with another part of the flower. This meeting helps create seeds inside the flower. Okay? Fruit development happens after fertilization. The part of the flower that held the seeds starts to grow bigger and become a fruit. The fruit is like a protective house for the seeds. It can have different shapes, sizes, and colors, and people and animals often eat fruits. When they do, they may spread the seeds, helping new plants grow in different places. So fertilization is when the flower seeds are made, and fruit development is when the seeds get a protective home to grow into new plants. Do we understand? Okay, so after pollination, the pollen combines with the ovules in the ovary, forming seeds. The ovary develops into a fruit, which protects and helps disperse the seeds. Okay, so do we understand that? Good. So today's lesson on reproduction in plants. We understood it, right? We said plants reproduce to make new babies, new plants. And we talked about the parts of a flower. The flower is the reproductive structure. And we talked about the parts of flowers, right? We said the parts include petal, sepal, stamen, and pistil. We talked about pollination. We said it's a transfer of pollen from a flower's male part to its female part. It's essential for making seeds and new plants, right? The types of pollination. We said self-pollination and cross-pollination. Agents of pollination, we mentioned insects, wind, birds, that they are nature helpers that move pollen from flower to flower. Then we looked at fertilization and fruit development in plants. We said fertilization is when pollen joins the female parts, leading to creation of seeds. And fruit development is when the flower ovary grows into a fruit to protect the seeds. So these processes are vital for plants to reproduce and grow. Okay, we understood all that, right? Good. So next we are going to be looking at our assignment, okay? I'm sure we're going to be able to do our assignments, right? Because we learned about them today. Okay, that is very good.